America is affected by disasters that cause harm to several parts of our country. During these times of distress, America bonds together to try to find a solution. My point today is to show you how even if times get tough, people of America work together to lift the burden of disaster and help each other find a solution to the problem. The first disaster I will address today is Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina struck on August 29, 2005. The storm stretched across 3 states, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. The people of New Orleans were impacted the most due to the fact that many of the citizens had no transportation out of New Orleans and had no shelter once they got out. Their only option was to brave the storm in their own homes or to head to the Superdome that was offered up for shelter. Many were not able to reach the shelter and had to face the storm on their own. As the storm hit on August 29th, sheer chaos erupted. The storm peaked at a Category 5 hurricane with 125-mile-an-hour winds. This was the largest and 3rd strongest hurricane in U.S. history. This video shows how serious the storm truly was.
Hurricane Katrina was the 3rd strongest hurricane to make landfall on America in 100 years. It hit Louisiana on the 28th of August 2005 with the power of a nuclear explosion. With 125-mile-per-hour winds, she caused widespread devastation. 80% of New Orleans is several feet below sea level. It's surrounded by water on all sides. Hurricanes bring rising sea levels, making the city extremely vulnerable to flooding. The city's sole protection is a series of flood barriers known as levees. Aware that the hurricane was closing in on New Orleans, a state of emergency was declared and all residents asked to leave the city. But many had no means to get out. They were directed to the makeshift relief center in the Superdome football stadium. Here they spent the night sheltering from the storm. On the morning of Monday, August the 29th, the city seemed to have survived the worst of the storm. But then, unexpectedly, several sections of the levees holding back the water from the city of New Orleans gave way and water poured in. Soon, 80% of the city was submerged by water in places up to 20 feet deep. Thousands of people were stranded. Many headed to the Superdome for temporary refuge.
By the end of the storm, over 80% of New Orleans was underwater up to 20 feet deep, and the storm impacted 90,000 square miles. After the storm, even the shelter of the Superdome was affected, as roof tiles and paint were chipped away. This was time for America to step up in order to help all of these suffering people who were in dangerous conditions. First response was by the Coast Guard, who rescued around 34,000 people in New Orleans alone. Government across the country sent search teams, supplies, and ambulances. The first step to this recovery was trying to get out as many people as possible from the wreckage. The rescuers did not only save people, but teams like the Red Rover team of 400 volunteers from over 40 states cared for and rescued 2,100 animals with the support of donations of supplies, equipment, and medicine. Not only did rescuers react, but also relief companies like the Red Cross reacted immediately to provide food and accurate medical assistance to those affected by the storm. Besides the Red Cross, an organization called Tide Loads of Hope reacted and sent their trucks loaded with detergent, washing machines, dryers, and volunteers. This organization spent 59 days washing, drying, and folding clothes for those displaced by the storm. In these 59 days, Tide washed 13,871 loads of laundry, and helped over 10,950 families by washing their clothes. These were just a few of the many extremely helpful disaster relief programs that showed how when America comes together to help each other, great results can occur. So many volunteers and donors tried to help to contribute to the overall $100 billion in damage. But nothing could replace the 2,000 lives lost, and for that, America is truly sympathetic. The next disaster I want to focus on is the BP oil spill of 2010. On April 20th, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon offshore drilling unit exploded in the Gulf of Mexico, which caused it to burn and sink. The explosion killed 11 people and injured 16 others. The explosion caused a leak of oil that continued for 87 days until the unit was capped on July 15th. Miles of coastline were affected, including the coasts of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. The oil rig pumped more than 2 million gallons of oil into the Gulf of Mexico, making it the biggest oil spill in history. Over 8,000 animals were pronounced dead just 6 months after the oil spill, including many that are already endangered. This spill led to oil-coated birds and sea turtles, along with mammal ingestion of oil and the death of some types of rare deep-sea coral. One huge help to this disaster was Dawn dish soap. Dawn has been known for their specialized formula that is the only true way to get oil out of animals' skin or feathers gently. Dawn reacted by giving a portion of its profits from specially marked products to help save animals affected by the oil spill. Dawn also donated thousands of bottles of soap in order to clean the animals affected. A website was also created called RestoreTheGulf.gov in order to help relief efforts and to assist those business owners who have been affected by the oil spill and are in need of compensation. This website also offers numerous ways that people from all over the country can volunteer to help in order to get the Gulf back to where it used to be. Besides these efforts, over 30,000 people responded to collect oil, clean up beaches, and take care of animals. This shows how America truly cares about all aspects of our country, and when one part needs the other's help, there's no hesitation. Another disaster that has brought America to its rescue is the recent tornadoes in Oklahoma. On May 20th, 2013, an EF5 twister hit Moore, Oklahoma, and broke records there. This is the widest ever recorded twister at 2.6 miles wide. The wind speeds reached up to 295 miles per hour. The area is also suffering from flash floods that have led to 20 deaths. This video shows the true strength of this horrible storm.
We are just south and west of Wichita, and look at this. Imagine the power of flattened trees, and of course we've got pieces of a shredded barn that have traveled more than 100 yards from back there. This type of power, we watched it as it headed right toward downtown Wichita.
Whoa, that thing's huge.
This storm chase started with a tornado moving right toward downtown Wichita.
We gotta get ready to go.
We raced north to meet it.
We're just now coming on Wichita. We're about 5 miles south, and the storm structure is incredible. It's going to pass right over the city of Wichita. This has already produced tornadoes.
Our crew catching the angry skies and chaos around us
As we get pelted with golf ball-sized hail. You hear the hail. The hail here is wild. So we're starting to get it right on the outside of the storm. We're going to try to get north, get to a safe place.
That safe place was east of the tornado, which was wrapped in rain and dying.
That is the storm that just moved through Wichita, so we are going to find some damage and also try to chase. There's another storm just to the south that has a tornado warning on it right now.
We're gonna try to go straight back on.
We blast south and end up south of Tulsa, the sirens blaring.
It's no longer safe, so this is our last storm. This is actually what's left of the storm that dropped a tornado in Shawnee, devastating it. It was a long day chasing the 28 reported tornadoes, and we'll be out doing it again today. And a reminder, Sam, that storm chasers, especially those who are trained like myself, are necessary and very helpful. It's not just voyeurism. We are calling 911 the second we see a tornado, and therefore all the officials have the information the second they need it.
Just to give you some perspective, on average, 1 out of every 1,000 tornadoes that hits the United States are EF5s. Not only has Oklahoma been hit with 8 EF5 tornadoes since 1950, but 2 of them occurred within 11 days of each other, one on May 20th and one on May 31st. Oklahoma sure has been hit badly and needs some strength to move on. One relief effort that has greatly impacted Oklahoma is the Healing in the Heartland concert that aired on NBC on May 29th. Organized by Blake Shelton, stars came out for a concert to benefit those people in Oklahoma. Some stars included Miranda Lambert, Reba, Usher, and many more. Overall, the benefit raised more than $6 million to the United Way of Oklahoma. To add to the relief, the Salvation Army has also leaped into action, setting up several of its mobile feeding units to help feed rescuers and those affected by the storm. Their numerous volunteers do the little things that help the people of Oklahoma begin to recover by feeling that they have support and love. Besides the many large organizations that donate millions of dollars, there are also all of those small town people who get fundraisers going in order to help those in need. These amazing people are true heroes for bringing all of their resources together to help complete strangers and are the basis of why relief efforts can be so successful. Small organizations like the Texas Bloggers Association join together to help raise money for their northern neighbors. Another organization is the charity auction run by Elliot's blog that aims to donate the money that they raise to the Red Cross to help with relief efforts in Oklahoma. Finally, the Oklahoma Runner Organization is collecting new or slightly used shoes to donate to those affected by the twisters, so that they have shoes to wear. The last disaster I am going to address today is Hurricane Sandy that devastated the East Coast in October 2013. This storm affected 24 states, including the entire eastern seaboard from Florida to Maine, with New York and New Jersey being hit the worst on October 29th. The storm flooded streets, tunnels, and subway lines, and also cut power in and around the city. 346,000 homes were damaged or destroyed, and 185,000 businesses in New Jersey were impacted. The total death toll was 285 people, and there is around $62 billion in damage. This video sums up some of the worst of this storm.
You know, it is difficult to imagine what lies beneath in stations just like this one all over Lower Manhattan. What you're about to see is a collection of everything that Sandy brought to bear, and water is the least of it. Deep underground, the beating heart of Manhattan's transit system, now an eerie labyrinth of epic proportions. Joe, none of this was here?
None of this was here.
All of this came with the water down the stairs?
Absolutely. This wall here
Yeah.
is from down here.
Man, it's got to weigh 200 pounds. Sandy's 14-foot surge washed into Manhattan's South Ferry Station like a tidal wave, carrying thousands of pounds of debris. So what are we talking about, like 50, 60 feet?
Yes. You're talking probably thousands, about 2,000, 3,000 feet of track that is completely submerged.
This is just one stop along 660 miles of subway track that carry more than 5.3 million commuters every day. At least 3 other stations have water up to their platforms. Many others have several feet of flooding.
We have 46 miles of track currently underwater right now.
Underwater, so
underwater.
unusable.
Yeah.
Remember, draining contaminated water, just the first step. Weeks it will take to pump this out.
Yes.
And only then will you get down to where the tracks are and figure out what your problems are.
Correct.
Above ground, cleanup is just as formidable. You see the color? That is fuel, that is oil, and that is transmission fluid. Each one is toxic, each one a hazardous material. This morning, 750,000 people are still without power. Public schools remain closed. Nearly 4,000 utility workers from all over the country are rushing to New York today to help turn the power back on.
You should not expect those people that do not have service today to get service much before the weekend.
A weekend that should be one of New York's busiest, as thousands of people begin traveling across the world for the annual New York City Marathon, a race where just starting now matters much more than finishing. You know, we mentioned the marathon. It seems like a small thing, but in many ways, normalcy is measured by the little things. Of course, with the transportation system the way it is, it'll be a race just for the runners to get here. But the real marathon, Josh, is the one that all of these thousands of workers are waging to get this city back on track, as they say. And that marathon is a long way from over, Josh.
In the aftermath, many people reacted by saying it was time to come together and help out the East Coast at this time of destruction and devastation. Celebrities came together yet again to throw the 12-12-12 concert for Hurricane Sandy relief. Some of the performers included Bruce Springsteen, The Who, Alicia Keys, Bon Jovi, and many more. The concert was televised by 39 U.S. stations and raised $50 million towards Sandy relief. Another group that stepped up to help the victims was the members of MTV and their Restore the Shore campaign. The November telethon featured multiple stars on TV sharing their feelings and offering their help to those affected. Multiple musicians also performed, and the MTV raised a lot of awareness and helped by spreading the word on ways to donate and volunteer. Stars also answered phones of people pledging money to help the victims of Hurricane Sandy. Thanks to the help of so many supportive volunteers and donators, the damage to the East Coast is slowly but surely being fixed, and citizens are beginning to rebuild. Overall, the United States had such a capacity to help others that whenever a part of the country is affected, the other parts of the country can come to the rescue. Personally, I would like to thank all of those people who help in times of need, including first responders, everyday heroes, and friendly neighbors willing to lend a hand. I hope that this video enlightens people to the real, helpful, and strong people out there willing to help in any time of need. I hope this video has inspired you to help donate to causes in any way you can. If it's $1 or $1 million, every donation counts to help people affected by disasters. One way to donate and help victims of multiple tragedies is to donate to the Red Cross. The Red Cross is an organization that is always first to respond in hard times, and funding is always needed, so I hope you can help. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, the road to recovery starts here.